Small towns, like Glenns Ferry, are home to many unique pieces of history. It's almost like taking a step back in time when you walk down one of about 2 streets in the whole town. But as the world changes, the places built around those old ways of life get left behind, like passenger rail travel. The trains that once brought people to town no longer have a place to stop. And for years, it sat empty. But through years of decay and abandonment, it stood the test of time. And as Cooper Morgan explains, a piece of Glenns Ferry's past is getting a second life thanks to the small town people who refuse to let it disappear.
Set the stage, shine the spotlight, open the curtains.
I'll give the message, thank you.
For Susan Case, this is more than a prop phone on a small town stage.
But the second you do this and you walk in front of the audience, I don't know how, but the nerves go away and you become the character.
It's decades of memories speaking to those sitting in these chairs, even if at first it was a little daunting.
I'm racking my brain thinking, I can't do this. I cannot get on stage in front of a bunch of people.
She showed up anyway.
So I put on a gray wig, I put a mole, I put a large cushion and put on an old lady dress, big red lipstick, and I was unrecognizable.
She improvised with that cushion, the stage becoming her second home.
But it becomes part of the scene. I realized I'm holding a teacup and saucer, but there was no place to set it. So I set it down and I did the entire scene with it balanced there, and the audience roared with laughter. Absolutely just tears, laughing, sustained. I was hooked. I was so hooked.
Inside the Glenns Ferry Opera Theater, it's stories like this that fill the halls. Stories like this that inspired Dorothy Drake to buy what's beyond this brick.
Yeah, I was in love at first sight. Everything that I touched was, there's a million stories. And I wish I knew a tenth of them.
Built in 1914 by Dan Gorby, this place started as a movie palace. Hand-cranked projectors.
It would probably dim the entire town. That's how much electricity it takes.
7 real silent films.
And it was a series that was kind of like Murder, She Wrote of the 1916s.
And quick little chasers at the end of a showing.
They were called chasers to make you leave the theater. And wouldn't we love to find one? I have no idea what was on them, but it was pretty cool.
Back then, trains on the Oregon Short Line stopped here for coal and water, a mandatory stop.
Because it wasn't like going to a gas station. It was like a whole day process.
So while the train refueled, the town put on a show. And that was the intention.
There might be a juggler or an acrobat, and they would just get on stage. Whoever was on the train was in the audience, and of course the residents around. And it was grand fun.
When the passenger trains didn't have to stop, there were more empty seats, but it persevered.
It has only been vacant for approximately 20 to 25 years, which is why it's in such good shape.
Drake's owned it herself since 2019, peeling back the years and restoring the points to bring it back.
Wanted to replace the facade to make it the same as in 1914.
Grants helped rebuild the original parapet, a pseudo-deco facade that makes this one of the oldest operating theaters in Idaho.
We've done Clue and Steel Magnolias and some very big productions.
Even the seats have a story, salvaged from old rail cars, still holding an audience more than a century later.
Nobody's getting paid, right?
Oh no, we're volunteers. And as many people have said, there's no money in theater.
But it's not about the money, especially for Case.
No one's calling me from Broadway. But there is that connection with the audience that you really can see and feel, because as you can see, it's quite the stage is quite close.
And that small town feeling is what brings it home.
It's an escape for the audience, and it's make-believe, well, actually for everybody. We need that.
And the work is not done yet. Dorothy's already planning the next round of upgrades, namely the bathrooms, all while keeping that 1914 feel. After that, she says it's all about curtains, seats, and small fixes here and there so the building can hopefully last another 100 years. She says that hopefully is pretty big.
I think they can do it. I think it's amazing that she's putting the time and effort in. Again, I mean, yeah, not a lot of money in local theater, but still doing it. I think one of the big questions, though, that people might ask, is opera coming back to the Opera House, or is it just going to be more theater?
It's a lot of theater, a lot of plays from what I know and what she told me. That was a lot of what they kind of focus on, not so much the singing, and but just overall that feeling,
Still so cool. They can do musicals. It counts, right? I like that. All right, Cooper, thank you.